Good morning, everyone. I'm Darshan from LeapQuest, one of the founding members, and we're going to have another interesting session today, a very important discussion. And before we talk about the schools, visas, salaries, or hiring trends, let's discuss the noise. The MBA conversation today is being dominated by chatters, WhatsApp forwards, LinkedIn panic threads, YouTube thumbnails screaming UK is finished, or H1B is closed, or it's impossible. And when fear becomes louder than facts, even smart people begin doubting strategic decisions. Let me tell this very clearly. Global mobility is not collapsing, it is filtering. 2021 to 22 was abnormal expansion, 2024 to 26 is normalization. That difference is critical, and the MBA is not at all risky. Random strategy is risky, and tonight we are going to replace fear with data, emotion with structure, and hope with probability. So let's begin. Global hiring operates in cycles driven by capital availability, corporate for profitability, and macroeconomic confidence. 2021 to 22 was a liquidity fueled expansion cycle. Tech valuations were inflated, consulting pipelines were overflowing, private equity was aggressively deploying capital, headcount expansion was exponential. That period created disordered benchmarks. Now, in 2024 to 26, we are witnessing recalibration. Hiring has not disappeared, it has become very selective, and selective markets do not eliminate opportunity. They reward sophistication. The MBA is not collapsing, random, unstructured MBA strategies are. Let's understand today's anxiety. We must first understand yesterday's ambition distortion to understand today's anxiety. And during the 2021 2022, companies were operating in survival to expansion post pandemic. Digital transformation accelerated overnight, consulting mandates surged, tech firms overestimated long term demand curves, and compensation bands expanded rapidly. Signing bonuses spiked, sponsorship filings increased significantly, and for a brief period, the global talent market was overheated, and many aspirants internalized that overheated environment as the baseline. But expansion cycles are never permanent. When interest rates rise and capital tightens, companies recalibrate headcount growth. They optimize margin, they become performance sensitive. That's what we are seeing today. The correction phase does not mean fewer opportunities, it means more accountability. It means employers are hiring fewer generalists and more specialists. It means internships matter more. It means pre MBA clarity carries weight. In boom markets, average preparation survives. In precision markets, engineered positioning dominates. The H1B conversation has been reduced to emotional simplification. It's a lottery, so it's impossible. But that interpretation lacks structural understanding. Yes, the H1B has always been lottery based. That architecture is not new. What changed recently was regulatory tightening around duplicate filings and normalization of approval rates. But the deeper system remains intact. STEM designated MBAs offers 3 years of OPT runway. Giving candidates multiple lottery attempts, internship heavy recruitment models means most full time roles are secured before graduation. And sponsored dense firms, especially in consulting, analytics, and technology, continue filing visas consistently for high performing candidates. And the key mistake is entering the US market without visa mathematics clarity. If you enroll in a non STEM MBA, you compress your runway. If you target industries with weak sponsorship history, you increase your exposure. And if you treat internship recruitment casually, you reduce conversion probability. And H1B is not at all a gamble, it's a probability model. And like all probability models, inputs determine outputs, and intelligent candidates manage risk exposure, emotional candidates magnify it. The core issue is not the market, it is positioning. Many Indian aspirants still approach the MBA as an academic progression. I worked for 4 years, now it's time for an MBA. But the MBA today is not a degree decision, it's a geographic, immigration, and industry entry strategy combined. Applying purely based on rankings, choosing geography emotionally, ignoring sponsorship density, networking after reaching campus, deciding industry direction mid program. These approaches worked in hyper expansion cycles, they collapse in correction cycles. Think about this rationally. If you are deploying 1 to 2 crores in tuition plus opportunity cost, no sophisticated investor allocates that kind of capital without risk modeling, scenario planning, and even the exit strategy analysis. Yet, candidates routinely make MBA decisions without analyzing visa pathways, internship conversion ratios, industry hiring momentum, and geographic mobility optionality. The difference between struggle and success is in this environment is not intelligence, it is a structured foresight. Now let's discuss the tier 1 US institutions Harvard, Stanford, Wharton, Booth, Columbia. These are not simply academic brands, they're deeply embedded corporate pipelines. Alumni density inside MBB consulting, bulge bracket banks, private equity funds, venture capital firms, and senior leadership roles in big tech creates structural insulation during downturns. When hiring slows, employers rely more heavily on trusted pipelines, and these institutions represent the most trusted pipelines globally. Elite brands behave differently in correction cycles. They may experience short term hiring moderation, but they rebound first because employer confidence remains intact. Alumni advocacy intensifies, on campus recruitment structures remain stable, internship conversion pipelines continues functioning, and brand equity compounds over decades and not years. And when evaluating tier 1 US schools, you're not just evaluating salary medians, you're evaluating the resilience architecture. Beyond the tier 1, we see institutions like MIT Sloan, Kellogg, Berkeley Haas, Yale, and Dartmouth Stock. These schools are particularly powerful in internship conversions, consulting pipelines, and STEM structuring. And here's the critical insight. In the US system, the summer internship is the primary determinant of a full time placement. Most full time offers are conversions. That means your MBA outcome is heavily influenced by your performance within the first 9 to 12 months. This shifts the strategy entirely. Pre-MBA preparations becomes essential. Case interview prep must begin months before arrival. Resume narratives must be engineered early. Alumni outreach cannot be postponed. The US MBA is not about attending classes and hoping for opportunity. It's about entering the 2 year competitive arena with structured preparation. Candidates who understand this treat the MBA like a campaign and not a classroom. And then we move to Duke Fuqua, Michigan Ross, NYU Stern, UCLA Anderson, Cornell Johnson. These schools deliver strong ROI when approached strategically. They maintain robust consulting and tech pipelines, increasing STEM classifications, and structured career support systems. However, the outcomes here are more sensitive to candidate clarity than brand insulation. In tight markets, discipline amplifies outcomes. Candidates who arrive with clear industry targets, geographic flexibility, and consistent networking habits often outperform median statistics. Candidates who arrive uncertain, hoping the brand will carry them, struggle. And this tier strategy density matters more significantly, and you're not just buying a logo, you're leveraging an ecosystem, and ecosystems reward those who engage intentionally. Let's talk about the UK. The UK market is frequently miscategorized as closed. It is not closed, it is calibrated. Institutions like London Business School, Oxford, Cambridge, and Imperial continue to place into consulting, finance, sustainability, and transformation roles. The 2 year graduate route visa provides structured post study flexibility. The shorter 12 to 15 months program duration reduces the operation opportunity cost significantly compared to the US model. However, hiring behavior has become more precision driven. Employees are prioritizing candidates who demonstrate immediate value add capability. Sector realism matters, networking before arrival matters, geographic reasoning matters. The UK has shifted from expansion to filtration, and filtration rewards candidates who think strategically about industry positioning rather than broadly, about the international exposure. Europe is often misunderstood by Indian aspirants because they evaluate it using a US centric lens. That is the mistake. Europe does not operate on single market absorption model like the United States. It operates on a cross-border mobility architecture. Institutions like INSEAD, HEC Paris, IESE, IE, and IMD Switzerland are not feeding one economy. They're feeding multiple economic corridors simultaneously: Western Europe, Middle East, Southeast Asia, and increasingly Africa. That structured mobility creates diversified geographical optionality. European MBAs are shorter, more intense, and deeply international in cohort composition. This produces a very different hiring dynamic. Consulting firms recruit for multi country staffing models. Middle East sovereign bonds hire directly from these campuses. Luxury, energy transition, infrastructure, and sustainability sectors are heavily represented. If the US model is depth within one geography, the European model is breadth across multiple geographies. And in volatile markets, optionality is strategic insurance. And where do the European graduates actually land? Let's move from perception to placement architecture. Within Europe, London dominates financial services, fintech, consulting, and private equity. Germany absorbs graduates into automotive strategy, industry, digitalization, and consulting. France drives luxury, infrastructure, and energy placements. Switzerland continues to dominate banking, pharma, and commodities training. The Nordics lead in sustainability and climate tech. This multi market absorption model is very unique. Outside of Europe, mobility continues. The Middle East, especially Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Riyadh, aggressively recruits European MBA graduates into consulting, infrastructure, sovereign wealth funds, and energy transition projects. Singapore and Hong Kong absorb regional strategy and finance talent. Even the US hired selectively into global consulting firms with European operations. And the key insight is this: European MBA graduates rarely depend only on a one job market. They typically operate across 3 to 4 variable geographies. That diversification reduces systematic risk. Now let's remove emotion entirely and talk capital allocation. The question is not, is an MBA risky? It is, does the expected return justify the deployed capital? Top US MBA programs report median base salaries between 165 to 175k with signing bonuses averaging 25 to 35k. Total first year compensation often crosses 200k. Even after taxes and living cost, break even typically occurs within 2.5 to 3.5 years for higher conversion candidates. European MBAs show median salaries in the 110 to 130k range. However, program duration is 12 to 15 months, significantly reducing opportunity cost. Faster program completion compresses the ROI cycle. Break even in Europe often occurs between 2 to 3 years. The ROI conversion must include tuition, opportunity cost, post tax income, geographical mobility, and even the long term earning trajectory, not just the headline salary. MBA is capital deployment, and the capital deployment requires disciplined mathematics. Sophisticated candidates do not anchor their entire future on one geography. They diversify exposure. Canada offers structured permanent residency pathways and predictable immigration frameworks. Australia provides skilled migration clarity and strong quality of life metrics. The UAE offers tax free income and an expanding demand for consulting and transformation roles. These markets may not always match US headline salaries, but they offer immigration stability. Optionality reduces psychological and financial risk. If you build your profile that can operate in 2 to 3 market instead of one, your bargaining power increase. And global mobility is not about chasing the highest number, it is about structuring flexibility. And in volatile cycles, flexibility compounds. Hiring is not disappearing, it is specializing. The next 5 years will reward operators who position themselves in structural growth corridors. AI enabled management, digital transformation, energy transitions, healthcare advisory, sustainable finance, and infrastructure investment will dominate corporate spending. General management roles without sector depth will compress, and sector informed strategy roles will expand. The future MBA candidates must think in these themes and not titles. Product manager is a title, AI enabled enterprise optimization is a theme, consultant is a title, energy transition advisory is a theme. Those who align early with structural growth, theme captures disproportionate upside. The question is not whether the job will exist, the question is whether you're aligned with the capital flow direction. And admission committees are not isolated from hiring cycles. They understand market shifts deeply, and today they evaluate applicants not just for academic readiness but for employability realism, market awareness, geographic reasoning, industry clarity, and post MBA narrative coherence are heavily scrutinized. Generic ambition no longer impresses. A candidate who says, I want global exposure, signals immaturity. A candidate who says, I'm targeting healthcare strategy in the UK due to the structural NHS reforms pending and private public advisory demand, signals depth. Maturity wins admits, clarity wins scholarships. Admissions is no longer about storytelling alone, it's about strategic credibility. And at LeapQuest, we do not sell destinations, we engineer positioning. Every candidate undergoes brand strength analysis. We assess how their work experience signals value in global markets. We evaluate industry pivot feasibility, whether a transition is realistic or aspirational. We analyze the visa and aligning geography with immigration mathematics. We may sponsorship history, targeting firms with precedent. We also engineer geographical diversifications, round strategy timing, and internship mapping even before the candidate steps on the campus. Essay, CV, recommendations, and career narratives are not isolated components. They are synchronized signals. A tight market is not a barrier, it is a filter, and filter rewards engineered clarity. Global mobility is not dead, it is selective. The global MBA is not collapsing, it is evolving. In expansion cycles, average positioning survives. In correction cycles, engineered positioning dominates. The difference is not courage, it is calculation. Replace fear with data, replace emotions with structure, replace hope with probability. This decade will not reward random ambition, it will reward strategic operators who understand immigration structure, industry specializations, internship conversion mechanics, and capital deployment logic. And that is exactly how we train our candidates to think. School selection is not about rankings alone. It is about the fit, pipeline strength, alumni density in target industries, visa structure, and geographic absorption capacity. We assess this profile competitiveness, career alignment, cultural fit, and portfolio balance, reach, target, safety through a structural lens. A well structured school list is risk management. It maximizes upside while minimizing the downside exposure. We ensure candidates apply where probability and ambition intersect, not where ego dictates. And MBA applications are not essay contests, they are positioning documents. Profile building begins months in advance, leadership signaling is sharpened, impact quantification is strengthened, career narratives are aligned with market realism. Each school receives a customized strategic narrative. Interview preparation is equally structured, mock panels, stress testing responses, refining clarity under pressure. We simulate high stakes environments so that performance becomes controlled and confident. Execution excellence determines conversion. And our structure is deliberate. The head consultant drives macro strategy. The quality assurance mentor ensures narrative consistency and structural coherence. The essay editor polishes signal strength and storytelling precision. The dedicated point of contact ensures operational continuity. This is not fragmented consulting. It is synchronized execution. Multiple layers of review reduce blind spots and increase competitive sharpness. That architecture compounds advantage. We are not here to push destinations, we are here to evaluate feasibility. We will tell you when a pivot is unrealistic. We will challenge emotional decisions. We will stress test assumptions because our role is not to flatter, it is to optimize outcomes. Your MBA is a multi crore decision that impacts geography, income trajectory, immigration exposure, and long term positioning that deserves structural rigor. And this is what we provide. Global mobility is not about blind ambition, it is about engineered leverage. If you think structurally, if you're willing to plan deeply, if you want clarity instead of noise, then this is your entry point. The world has not become smaller, it has become more selective, and selective systems reward prepared operators. Let's take the leap intelligently. And yes, you can always reach out to us on our website, and there is a form. You can fill up that form for a one on one discussion. You can reach out to us on the leapquest.com. That's our website. You can always write to us at info@theleapquest.com, or you can directly give us a call on 93532 56447. So currently, we are assisting students with the 2027 intake, be it spring intake or fall intake. And any college that we would want you to apply, we would want you to enhance your profile, be it with light duty or heavy duty profile enhancement activities. And to know more about what exactly I'm talking about, let's have a one-on-one interaction. You can always visit us and keep an inquiry, and we'll get in touch with you. Hope this session provided some amount of clarity, guys. And if you need more structured information about any specific colleges or the post-MBA employability or anything such, we can discuss in detail. Looking forward to interact with all of you, and all the best for anybody in this application journey. All the best, guys. Thank you so much.